Hey everybody. So everybody keeps asking me, what do you think of this neighborhood? What do you think of that neighborhood? And I always, do videos on how do you pick the perfect house? How do you know if it's a good house? How do you know if it's a junk house? I actually just did a video recently about that. But I haven't done many videos about how to pick the perfect neighborhood. So I was thinking about it. So I said, you know what? Let me do a video on how to pick a perfect neighborhood, at least for me, because the neighborhood I pick might be the perfect neighborhood for me, but it might not be the perfect neighborhood for you. And I could show you, at least the way I would do it, I can find out if it's a perfect neighborhood for me without ever leaving my house, stepping a foot outside. There's so many websites that you go to, there's things you could do, virtual tours, and we're going to go over a lot of those options because why even bother house shopping until you know exactly where you want to live? So I did some research, found some really, really cool tools to actually check out neighborhoods. Some of them I didn't even know about until I was working on this video and trying to come up with all the ideas to show you guys. So stick around because, hey, why not look for a neighborhood without leaving the house? And that's what we're going over. So let's get started. The first thing I would do, all right, the very first thing, I would take out a pen and paper and I would set some groundwork. I would put down exactly what is a deal breaker and what I could live with. So at least I know what I'm focusing on. I know what's important to me because what's important to me might not be important to you. So let's keep that in mind. Make a list. Take a few minutes because trust me, if you're going through neighborhood to neighborhood and there's so many different neighborhoods and you're like, all right, this is a deal breaker. Now you could just stop. You could look at the neighborhoods and just pick the deal breakers right away. If they have the deal breakers, go on to the next neighborhood. Like, what matters most to you, okay? Is it community? Is it schools? Is it walkability, safety, lifestyle? Get it clear up front what you must have and what you won't compromise on and what you kind of, could live with, depending on your circumstances. Do you need to be near work? Ask yourself, do you need to be near work? Do you need to be near family, beach, or a specific vibe? That's important to some people. If you hate long drives, and you're saying, okay, from this neighborhood, for me to get to work, it's going to take me an hour, boom, there's a deal breaker right there. Think about it. Ask yourself, what is your daily life like? Do you go out a lot or do you stay in a lot? Is a lively downtown, a plus for you, or is it a nightmare? Like, we have a place here called Newport Richie, and everybody has golf carts, and they go to the bars, and there's music and everything. And some people, believe it or not, are moving there just for the nightlife. And then I know some people that are moving out because of the nightlife. So keep that in mind. Are you a pet owner? Parents that work from home. All these things change the game. Like if you're a dog lover, a dog park or a quiet street might shoot to the top of your list. So you work from home, you want a quiet street, or you're a dog lover and you love dogs and you want to live right next to a dog park. Think about things like that. Another thing you should consider is, like, are you looking to buy long term or just be a good renter for a little while? Resale might matter to you. So, more buyers are saying, okay, what amenities are there? What matters most for renters? Because renters might want to know convenience. They don't care about long-term equity because they don't own, they're renting. And really, really think about your budget. There's some places, some neighborhoods that I would love to live in, but trust me, I can't afford to freaking even pay the HOA fees to get into those places. Because they're extremely expensive. So look at your budget, and not just the budget of the house. Look at the taxes, look at the insurance, look at the HOA. Some neighborhoods look affordable until all the extras pile up. Do you care about HOA rules, okay, or being in a gated community? I don't like HOAs. There's some HOAs that are good, they don't really hassle you much, but there's some HOAs, forget about it. If you don't bring your garbage can in at a certain time, they're all over you, and I couldn't deal with that. I don't like gates. I don't want to wait till the gate opens and closes. It's just not my style. Okay, you know that's a lifestyle thing. Not everyone loves structure of an HOA. Me, I don't like it, but some people are saying, hey, I can't live unless I'm living in an HOA. Ask yourself, what kind of neighborhood do you want? Do you want a lot of families with kids? Do you want retirees? Do you want young professionals? Do you have, young kids that you want them to play with other kids? What's the vibe of the neighborhood? That can make or break your experience. So you might find the perfect house, but if you go move in there and you close and it's not the right vibe, forget about it. I'm telling you, sometimes I feel like the neighborhood is more important than the house. It really does. Ask yourself, are schools a priority? Even if you don't have kids, school zones affect resale, rental demand are big time, because some people move into certain neighborhoods just because of the school district that neighborhood is in. Then you have to ask yourself too, what's your noise tolerance? Okay, highway sounds, nightlife, trains. If you're a light sleeper, do you want to be woken up every morning by a train going by at 6 a.m.? You know, these things could really spin out of control if you really don't think about it. So let's get started with the first thing I would do. The first thing I would do is, if I'm interested in a neighborhood, before I even leave the house, I would definitely go and check out Google Maps. So let's get started. Let's go to Google Maps. All right. To get to Google Maps, just Google Maps. You'll see a link right there. Just click on it. And you'll get to a screen just like this. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to zoom into a neighborhood that you may be interested in. In the meantime, do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. I'll leave it at that. But, okay, let's say I was interested in Dunedin. Okay, living in Dunedin. I would change from that view to satellite view. And then I would move in. Just move your mouse. And I would check out the neighborhood. Let's just say this is the neighborhood that I'm interested in. So I said, all right, cool. So right away, I could tell that lots of trees. So I know it's a mature neighborhood, like it's been around for a while. Okay, it's not like a new construction with little small trees and everything. Then I would take this little gold guy and I would drop him and I would drag him and I would drop him right into the middle of the street. So now I'm taking a look. All right, we got bricks for paths, which is really cool. Roads. All right. And then I can look around just like I'm driving there. But remember, we haven't even left the house yet. Okay. Going down the neighborhoods. I can look around. Okay, the speed limit is 30. That's not bad. Okay. I'm going around. I like it. Maybe this road is a little too busy. So maybe right now, because this road to me seems a little bit busy more than I would like to be on. So I'm like, all right, next, this neighborhood's not for me. Maybe I would cut this neighborhood out right away. Let's get back out of this. Okay, let's say we would pick a different place. Let's say we want to go to downtown. I would zoom in. All right, so there's a really big marina there, so maybe I'm into boating, okay? Maybe I would check out that marina. Maybe I keep a boat there. Then I would say, okay, I could also look what kind of restaurants around, supermarkets, gas stations, what's convenient in that area. Maybe I'm looking, for a supermarket that's within walking distance. So there's so much you could do with Google Maps. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but think about it. Not even leaving your house. You could do a virtual tour. You could see where the restaurants are. You could see where the police stations are, the fire departments, where the hospitals are, where the churches are. Look, there's a church right here. You could click on it. It'll tell you about the church. And then here's another one, and I won't even take up a lot of your time in showing it to you, but you go to like Bing Maps. And in Bing Maps, you could look at historical stuff. So you could look at, let's say, this neighborhood, and you go back, what did it look like 2 years ago? What did it look like 5 years ago? What did it look like 10 years ago? So you get an historical data, like one of my properties up in Hudson. I wanted to see what it looked like, and I was able to go back maybe 15, 20 years. It was ridiculous what I could see. saying, okay, that dock used to be there, now it's not there anymore, and all that stuff. So yes, my first stop would definitely be Google Maps. So check out Google Maps, and you won't regret it. All right, let's go on to the next thing. What we're going to talk about next is, hey, I want to know if there's crime in the area, because who doesn't want a safe neighborhood? So let's do that one. Okay, before we leave Google Maps, there's another thing you can do with Google Maps too. In the mornings, go and check out the traffic. Okay, just hit traffic and it'll tell you how long it would take. So put in the address of where you're going to be working or where you're going to be traveling to every day, and take a look at it during the morning rush hour and at night, and see how long it would take. Okay, because right now it's like really late at night. So obviously, for me to get someplace now, it would be take a lot less time than it would around 9 a.m. And you see like these red marks here, those are basically showing that there's a bit of traffic, or it could be construction, it could be anything that will slow down your travel. So check out the traffic patterns, in the rush hour in the morning and at night. Okay, so let's get back to the other thing about crime. In your neighborhood, no matter where you live, just say crime near me, and you'll get websites. Like one of them that I use is called Map Spot Crime. Okay, so I can put Tampa. I picked Tampa here before, and what it'll do is it will show what's going on. Assaults. Okay, it would show over here theft. Okay, so there was a car theft. And then you could always click more information, and then I can say, okay, let me see on view on Google Maps. So then it would come up on Google Maps, and there was a car theft right here. So not only could you pretty much check out, the crime in the area, but you could also take a virtual tour of the area and see what the feel is on that area too. So just pick websites that do spot crime. So let's say you want to pick a different one. Say we want to pick, we'll do Hudson, Florida. Okay. Click on it. All right. Then I can see what's going on. So let me click on it. Vandalism. Okay. I also can set up alerts. Assault. Theft. So, if it's listen, there's crime everywhere, okay? But if it's really bad, I would be like, maybe that neighborhood is not for me. All right? So that's really easy to find out what the crime is in a certain area. Go to police blogs. And another thing I would do is I would go to Facebook groups, because every neighborhood, here in Florida at least, there is Facebook groups for the neighborhoods. And just join them, and you get a feel and vibe of the people there, because believe me, if there's a problem, people will comment like you won't believe. There might be problems with parking in the street. Today on my association Facebook page, they were arguing because there was a dumpster and everybody was just throwing the trash outside and it was looking like garbage. And there was a big discussion going back and forth on how certain areas of the neighborhood are going downhill because people don't care anymore, or there's too many renters in there right now, and they're the problems, So everybody's giving their opinions, but listen, you haven't even left your house, and you get a feel of the people that are living in that neighborhood and what they're arguing about. Or it might be something great, they might be talking about parades that they're having, or a Christmas parade, or a boat parade, or barbecues that they're having. It's not all negative stuff. It could be positive stuff, that you would enjoy also. So make sure you go to the Facebook page of the neighborhoods that you want, because pretty much almost every neighborhood has a Facebook page lately. I know Hudson I'm part of. I know Newport Richie I'm part of. I'm part of the Facebook group in Safety Harbor, Dunedin. Even though I don't live there, I want to know what's going on with those neighborhoods, and I feel like I understand what's going on there just by joining those Facebook groups. So think about that one. All right, so this is definitely something I would do. I would go to websites like Zillow or Realtor.com, or there's so many real estate websites, and I would find out what's going on in the neighborhood. So let's say I wanted to go to a neighborhood called Gulf Harbors. Now I'm going to log in there, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of homes for sale. And the reason why there's a lot of homes for sale here is because we had a hurricane, and pretty much this whole area got flooded. Okay, so a lot of people can't afford the insurance, especially if they're in ranches and all that stuff. But that's a totally different video topic. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I want to move to this neighborhood, but there's a lot of people that want to sell, so maybe I should think twice about moving to this neighborhood. Okay, and what you could also do is, like on some websites, you could pick like, all right, let's say we got the flood risks. Okay, so we picked flood for a certain area because it's really important to know flood. Okay, this place, look at it, flood. And if you notice, look how many houses are going up for sale. And this is US 19. And all the houses on this side, you know that they're going to be needed flood insurance. You know, if you're in a neighborhood there, if you're buying anywhere around here, you're going to be paying some money for flood insurance and homeowners insurance and everything, because that's all flood areas. And what did that take me to find out if it's in a flood area? It took me seconds. And I just went to Zillow. So check it out, and then you could check out, you know, fire. If you're saying in California, look at the fire risks. So if I click on fire here, there isn't one because it's more flooding here than fire. But you get my point. So maybe I'll eliminate this neighborhood just because of the flooding, because I won't be able to afford the insurance, the homeowner's insurance on it. So let's say I go outside that area, and wow, I didn't realize how many houses are for sale going on. I guess a lot of people are trying to sell houses right now. So let's say I'm picking this area, and then I'm going to go and hit flood. Okay, so this road over here doesn't have much when it comes to flood. But then over here, maybe this neighborhood I'll keep away because it's near the river and it floods. You see what I mean? You could use websites like just as easy as Zillow and find out what's going on with the whole neighborhood. You could eliminate a whole neighborhood within minutes. You don't have to waste gas or time traveling to there. So check out Realtor.com, check out Zillow, check out places like that, because at the end of the day, you know, I know I'm taking like 15, 20 minutes to explain all this stuff, but everything's at your fingertips. And I'm telling you, you don't have to get off your couch. Pick the perfect neighborhood, and then you're like, wow, this neighborhood really, really checks out everything that I'm looking for. Then, you know, take a look at the houses in that neighborhood. Because what's the sense of finding a house, your perfect house, that checks off all the boxes, but the neighborhood is not the perfect neighborhood for you? Because that's a really risky proposition that you're putting yourself in. So think about it, and let's talk about a couple more things. All right. So basically, other things you could do with like Zillow and Realtor.com, you can compare prices per square foot, you know, between neighborhoods. Look at historical sales on streets. Use county property appraiser websites for tax information on those neighborhoods. Check if homestead exemptions apply, especially in big Florida cities. Could save you thousands. Look at the HOA dues, you know, for those neighborhoods, you know. Look at rental listings inside. See how many rental homes are in that area. Maybe it's a big Airbnb area neighborhood, and you don't want to be next to Airbnbs, you know, because of the party atmosphere and a lot of people moving in. At the end of the day, you could probably eliminate 9 out of 10 neighborhoods just by doing some of these methods, okay? Yeah, nothing's going to replace visiting the neighborhoods, but look how much time you will save by just doing everything virtually without even leaving your home, okay? just because you're doing everything virtually and trying to get a vibe of it, nothing's going to replace you driving to the neighborhood in the morning, afternoon, and night and getting the vibe for it, while you're physically there. But again, you could eliminate a lot of time, a lot of headaches, and then after you find the perfect neighborhood, then go shopping for a house. I'm telling you, some people, I see so many people doing it backwards. They're shopping, they're shopping for a house first, and then they're checking out the neighborhood. And I know so many people that bought the perfect house, at least they felt it was the perfect house, until they moved in and figured out that it wasn't the perfect neighborhood. So I know I left a few things out, but like me, like a neighborhood, it's like some of the neighborhoods are great. I love the neighborhoods. And I was telling you guys this, in the beginning. But getting out of the neighborhood, there's so much traffic on the main street getting out of the neighborhood that it's dangerous. It's just straight out dangerous. And it sometimes takes years for them to put street lights up just to get out of the neighborhood. And I mean, I'm in and out of these neighborhoods, and I'm like, oh my God, how do people get out every morning out to the main street? Because there's people flying by at 80 miles an hour. So that's one of my big pet peeves, when it comes to picking the right neighborhood, safety. And I'm not talking about just crime. I'm talking about just literally just driving through the neighborhood and getting out of the neighborhood. But anyways, that's today's video. Do me a favor, and like I said before, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And I put a link below because a lot of you people have, questions, or you want a referral for a realtor or a home inspector, or just have a general question. I put a link below. Just click on that and just ask whatever you like, and we do respond to those pretty fast. And watch this video I posted right here. I picked it out just for you guys, and I will talk to you later. Thank you and have a great, and I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I'll speak to you soon.